So I can't be brief because this is not a brief topic, but let us talk about black boys and black men young black men not choosing to go to college as much. I have a personal anecdote. This is only lightly researched. I am a alum of, obviously, Clark Atlanta University. Funny enough, I didn't even mean to put this shirt on to be this intentional, but it is what it is. Let's start off with an anecdote. Okay, so basically, this was an article that I was featured in my freshman year because I won freshman class president at Clark Atlanta University. And they basically came and started to chat with me because there was obviously at that time when I started my freshman year, I think the ratio was around 24-1 from male to female at Clark Atlanta University. I'm not sure what it is now. But if you include the overall AUC, which is the Atlanta University Center, I think which included ITC, which interdisciplinary and theological center or something like that. It was like a college for pastoring and whatnot. Morris Brown pre-reaccreditation, and then Morehouse and Spelman, obviously. So if you include Morehouse and Spelman and all throughout the AUC, it became 31-1 male to female because literally Morehouse and Spelman had almost the same population for the most part, right? So that's that. Notice how they said, it's not hard for Rodney Perry to stand out on the campus of Clark Atlanta University. And they kind of go into this whole tangent. They interviewed the SGA president, they interviewed Miss CAU, and they asked me just a few questions about, kind of why do I feel like a lot of men like myself didn't come to college. So what I want to say might not be really, received well, but I honestly think that this is one of those topics that kind of goes into the no public discretionary type of positioning. I don't think that black men should be talking about this solely publicly. I think we should be having a lot more conversations privately about this conversation if we really genuinely care. But I will say that I think a lot of what's going on as to why it continues to be a conversation of, I kept seeing the conversation becoming a battle and a debate, if you will. And I think a lot of it has to do with people starting from different positions, but also to them projecting their feelings and ideas and position of the state of just black maleness and black masculinity onto black boys before they even earn it. Because there's a whole lot of, these sounds like excuses, these sounds like da-da-da, and they're talking about the men who are trying their best to try to, truly empathize and explain as to why people who are children, 17, 18, these still kids for real, not choosing to go the college route. This is what I believe it is. I think, first off, in terms of what you are asking for black men to do is to opt into something with their whole ass. And there's nothing that we see, there's nothing that we opt into from a societal context that feels like it's going to be safe to us, right? Now, you might ask, Rodney, black women do this shit all the time. This sounds like you're starting up an excuse. And this is why this is not a full public conversation. Because you have to have empathy to have this conversation. Because I'm talking about my past self. I'm talking about me at 18. I'm talking about other boys who are 18 being called YNs instead of potential doctors, potential lawyers, should be college bound. Because people counted them out at 5th grade. At 7th grade, at 9th grade. They counted them out early. And the system is already hoping that they fail, hoping that they don't do well. So if the people who are there in the community with are only really taking care of them until they get to a point of where they have kind of appear as if they are now, quote unquote, adults, which is, for the average young boy, that might be like 16 years old. He goes through puberty, starts to, feel himself, probably started having sex, probably started trying to, maybe potentially trying out certain substances and things like that. but also very easily influenced by what's around him, by his friends, by what he's consuming, by what's on TV, everything. You know what I'm saying? And now it can travel with you on your phone. All of your influence can travel right along with you in your cachet. So what are they getting? They're downloading a lot of information. And what they're downloading is college costs a lot. We as millennials are still complaining about student loans. Gen Xers still complaining about student loans. It was an ongoing joke on the Steve Harvey show that Cedric the Entertainer's character said he didn't have no money to pay for them student loans back, right? They know this. They've seen this. But they also have heard people complain about college. They see all the complaints about people going for 4, 5 years to get a degree and they can't use it. They can't find jobs. They can't find employment, right? And then we talk about trades because people, I've seen that in the conversations too. Black boys don't want to go to the trade either because why? That's still effort. You're still telling them to opt into a system when they've never been truly satisfied in any system. Because I think that the thing that people are conflating is this genuine social privilege that black men have on a consistent basis. And yes, it obviously shows up in corporate America. It obviously shows up in these, professional and collegiate spaces for sure, right? But what does it feel like to these boys? What does it feel like to us? I've had long locks on my head since I was, 15 years old. I'm turning 32 this year. When I graduated college, I went on over 15 interviews, got into the door, and a good 10 of them interviews, they asked and had a conversation with me about my hair. You know what I'm saying? And I know for some people, that's an easy decision. I'm gonna cut my hair so I can get this job. I'm gonna cut my hair so I can be more, quote unquote, hireable. But for me to go to an HBCU, for me to learn my history, for me to get in depth and immersed in the understanding of black power, black liberation, black understanding, black academia, black intelligence, the history of so many different things, why would I think that me conforming to this is necessary and not just a power play? I have the competency. I could do the thing. Why do I need to change myself when I'm only this for 8 to 10 hours of my day? The rest of the time, I'm me. And this is how I want to look. This is how I want to express myself. This is who I am. And I think that that's something that we all have to make those decisions on, right? Now, I've had to deal with that in my life. I've had to take really conventional routes to get around, to still make ends meet, to make it make sense for me, right? And I think I'm doing okay. Had a few bumps in the road, but I'm okay. I'm way better than a lot of other people. So I'm certainly not going to be ungrateful. But I have to say that genuinely, if you care about the boys, then you will teach them about what their options are and show them the way. Because when they are children, that is the best time to sit them down and give them some game. And I'm talking about not just game because you're going to get something back from it. You're going to get some type of, hoorah, hooray, but truly treat these boys like plants. Water them. Ask them what they want and why they want it. And that's really it. And if they don't want it, if they don't want to hear it, the effort was enough. Because if it sinks in, if you keep trying, and especially for the folks who are close to you that you're going to be around anyway, why are you going to give up on them? Why are you going to put them in a situation where they're going to have to figure certain things out on their own? And I think that that's really what it is that it's every man's for themselves, and it's even more every black man for themselves, even before they're a black man.